Hey guys, welcome back to our channels. Thank you for subscribing and following us through. There was a Reddit post that had a lot of comments back and forth, pretty lengthy, so I put the link below, and also I'll be reading it as well too, so I'll read it fairly quickly. My firm is no longer paying a tenant rep broker a fee unless they do something substantial to earn it. We're a private shopping center developer owner. We have approximately 7 billion AUM, mixed use, grocery anchor, and everything in between. Effective immediately, we have made the decision that these brokers who have been making hundreds of thousands per year for, in most cases, simply forwarding a few emails will no longer be paid a fee of 4% of the net rent. This is an accepted industry practice that has not evolved with the time and must end. The tenant rep broker add almost nothing of value. Real estate packages can be done in hours, in-house. We can offer a driver to our site for micro fractions of the cost. With interest rate, construction costs all rising, why wouldn't the anarchist practice be changed? The brokerage community has gotten used to making these outrageous fees and will attempt to fight back against our position. The advantage we have is that typically we are owning or buying A+ real estate with multiple tenants desiring our project. If you take a 7-Eleven lease as an example, let's say they sign a 20-year lease, paying approximately $150,000 annually. The fee would be around $128,000. If it's our side and we present it to 7-Eleven direct with all the market info, why would we pay $128K to a broker? We will not be going forward. If the tenant wants them to be paid, they will have to pick up the tab. Good question, and I can understand where they're coming from. So my experience, I fully understand from a principal side and the sell side. So when I say principal, is usually the landlord who owns the property, and the sell side is going to be the brokers, capital markets brokers, leasing agents or leasing brokers, all that stuff. So I understand both sides of the story, and I can really empathize where this landlord is really coming from because I've been in those shoes too. But please understand, like any industry, it could be insurance, tech, brokerage, or anything in between. There are going to be people, they're going to be professionals who are exceptional at their job and they add a lot of value for their client and their customers, whoever they serve. But as you know, there are horrible people in any industry that has absolutely no freaking value and they get paid. And I understand, but I think it's going to be very challenging because I have worked with great brokers, great leasing agents that actually add tremendous amount of asset value to my property. Because unlike you or your firm who has 700 billion AUM, you might be vertically integrated. Maybe you have the property management, construction, in-house leasing, a lot of different things that you can do in-house for a fraction of cost. But a lot of landlords may not be vertically integrated. They may not have a full asset management team or a construction team, right? Or even a leasing team. So they have to outsource these to valuable brokers and relationship that has value for them. Because if you have all these individual employees, you have to pay payroll, right? If you have leasing agents in-house, you have 10 of them, regardless how many leasing you do, you have to pay their payroll every 2 weeks. However, with brokers, they only get paid when they consummate a deal between a prospect tenant and a landlord. So they only get paid by the deals they get done. So that should be their incentive to get the deal done at your property. Now, I do understand if you have main-on-main property that is sought after with a grocery anchor, especially from a retail perspective. You say you guys have grocery anchor, you probably have power center, junior, retail boxes, even inline spaces or small inline spaces that shadow anchored by CVS or some other things. So that's good, but that might be the solution for your firm, but that might be the solution for everyone else. Sometimes I do agree. You say 4% net rent. That's if you have outside broker, but some landlords actually have tenant rep brokers and landlord rep brokers. Then you're paying 6%, 2 to the landlord rep and 4% to the outside co-op broker, which is a tenant rep broker. So look, at the end of the day, sometimes our calculation and the rates that we put in and the lease valuation method really contemplates all the commission and the TIs involved, right? So we know our rates and we know our break-even numbers per month, or net effective rates will be. So a lot of people contemplate that. But I understand your anger and frustration because I am at plenty of brokers. I call them runners. All they do is just open doors and they want 4%. But there's realtors just like that in the single family home rentals, right? Or single family home. They come and they open the doors for you, take you and meet you on Saturdays and say, hey, this house is great next to a very good school. But they don't really know how to do anything else. They don't add any value for a single family homeowner that's first time who's nervous. So you may have 7-Eleven as a tenant, But how about Charles's burger shop? He's opening up for the first time. He doesn't know what to look for in a lease. A landlord gives a lease to them. They don't know who to ask. They have to engage a tenant rep broker. And even though you don't like that, a lot of people are going to do that because they're not going to be able to drive around and contact landlord's rep and say, hey, do you have 1,000 square foot? Do you charge by usable? Do you charge by rentable? What is your CAM, right? What is your triple net? People don't know how to do that when they're trying to sell burgers or some hot dogs or pokey, right? So they need that broker. So that's why the industry is not going to change. And then if you have the best-in-class asset and you want to be firm and say, no outside brokers, I want to deal directly with you, and more power to you. But you're very unique, and a lot of mid-sized firms or even mom and pop who may have 1 or 2 shopping centers, we're not going to have those property managers, leasing agents in-house unless they do it themselves. But as you know, to get to $7 billion AUM, you're not going to be doing leasing, construction, property management, asset management, negotiating debt, lease administration, CAM reconciliation. There's no way they can do that. That's why we have the brokers out there. So my advice is, if you're unhappy with these brokers, try to work with the brokers that add value. I think you have to think bigger. The business, I see the business as, I'm a landlord too. It's not a landlord-tenant relationship. It's business partners. Because you want your business partners who are your tenants to be successful in your shopping center. Then in return, you become successful. Why? Because they stay longer, they pay you on time, you have less turnovers, right? You have less mark-to-market. You could do mark-to-market on a 3-year. You could have your CAGRs go up 2%. Your grocery anchor, not so much. You're going to get Kroger's, Albertson, Whole Foods. You're going to what? 10% every 5 years. But your inline spaces, the Supercuts of the world, the Subway is going to pay you 3% every year. So that's why you have these shopping centers. But you can't target everyone because you're not going to get all national tenants because there's so many Jimmy John's and Jersey Mike's that come into your shopping center because they have radius restriction. You know that. So that's why these mom and pop regional startups need brokers, and they're the ones going to be shopping your center. That's why it's inevitable. Yeah, I mean, you can negotiate your rates down. Who says 4% is market? They might say it's market, say, hey, I can only give you 3%. Or incentivize them and say, look, I'll give you 2% or 3% up to $2.25. Now, if you bring me tenants, I could go to $2.75 or $3, which is my asking rate for my property, right? If you do better, I incentivize you. The difference, I'll get you 4% on those difference or 5%. So you can incentivize brokers to be aligned with you. But at the same time, another component is, how about the tenants? If you rip them off and charge the highest rate possible, that's great on the face value. But what if they're only successful for 6 months? And these brokers are going to be the ones that also assist with vetting these prospects. I have plenty of, broker landlord reps that looked out for our interests. They'll validate the tenants and say, hey, look, they have a great concept. However, this is the first time running a QSR, which is a quick service restaurant, which is the fast food. But they have well capitalized. The bank accounts look good. They seem very savvy. So how about we structure in a way they put a lot of security deposit and burn it through so that they minimize your risk. Not 100%, but you guys share on that risk, landlord and tenant. And these are something that good brokers and good agents going to be able to guide the landlord and the tenant. So my answer is avoid stupid brokers that want to rip you off. Eventually, those people will be phased out anyways. And only the good brokers are going to be remaining because, as you all know, the top 20% does 80% of the business. The bottom 80% fights for the 20%. That's any industry. Make sure you vet the brokers and work with the best in class. That's my advice. I think you're just a little upset that you have to pay a lot of fees, but most landlords build that in already as it is. And if you can get away with it, more power to you. And I wish a lot of people could think like you, but like I said, it's unfortunate they don't have vertically integrated staff to do those work. So that's it for me, and hopefully that helped people from both sides. And if you have any comments, add comments to the bottom and I will answer it, because as you can see, I'm very passionate about this, is because I get frustrated with horrible brokers, but also very grateful for those brokers who add a lot of value, eventually putting more money in my pocket. Thank you for watching.